Howdy y'all and welcome. I hope everybody's doing well out there so far and are looking forward to this 3-day weekend. And just in case you forgot why we celebrate this 3-day weekend, it's for all of those who gave it all to protect the freedoms we take for granted each and every day. So let us not forget our fallen heroes. And I will have a short story and a little tribute to those who gave it all here at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. So let's go ahead and get into this Memorial Day weekend and even what we could expect past Memorial Day weekend as well. So before we get into that, we did come in on an active weather pattern here as of late. Y'all may have saw here on the YouTube community posts, X, or even on Facebook, that I have been posting some case studies on the severe weather outbreak here from the 16th all the way into yesterday, which was the 19th. We can see here on the 16th we had over 9 tornadoes. Then of course the next day on the 17th we had over 41 tornado reports, which I think this was the moderate risk day, so it definitely, I think, overperformed on that day. And of course on the 18th, a little less, but still quite a bit of tornadoes with over 26 tornado reports and over 421 wind reports. So it's mainly a big old wind event, just like how the 19th was. We had only one tornado report, over 100 wind reports. So we had a active stretch of severe weather here in the past few days, and we've also had a lot of flooding going on, as we've had over 2 inches of rain in the past couple of days here at the Windsor Weather Headquarters here in southern Indiana. Definitely a stark contrast between now and at the beginning of the month, as beginning of the month it was pretty quiet, pretty cold, and pretty dry as well. So will this continue as we head into and past Memorial Day weekend? Well, as we take a look at the 8 to 14 day U.S. hazards outlook from the 27th through June 2nd, we can see there's going to be some heavy precipitation occurring down here in the south central part of the country. So it's looking like we could be heading into a very soggy pattern as we head past Memorial Day weekend and into the end of the month. And we take a look at the risk of heavy precipitation. You can see as moderate risk here. So basically it's looking like we could be heading into a soggy weather pattern here as we head into the end of the month. And I will have my June outlook probably Tuesday of next week, so stay tuned for that. And I will have the hurricane outlook up on the 30th. So again, stay tuned for those outlook videos. Now, if you take a look at what we could expect for the next couple of weeks leading into and past Memorial Day weekend, we're going to take a look at the GFS. Please take this forecast with a grain of salt. It's anything over a week out, virtually impossible to forecast. And we can see that it's been very soggy here as of late here out east, hence why we've gotten over 2 inches of rainfall here in the past couple of days here in the Ohio Valley, and well over 8 inches of rain for the month. And I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon, because as we head into Memorial Day weekend, we can see it is just going to be a very soggy one here out east, and we could come in on some severe weather here in the south central part of the country. And as we go back to the Storm Prediction Center, we can see we head into Friday, there is a slight risk for this area here in Oklahoma, Texas, and even Kansas. I'll keep y'all posted on X and Facebook, of course, with a case study the day after. Stay tuned for that. And we can see here on the GFS, there is going to be some significant severe weather occurring within this region on good old Saturday. So it could be a washout for much of us here on Saturday, and it's looking to just continue here out east. So basically the eastern part of the country for Memorial Day weekend is looking to be a washout, while the western part of the country into the upper Midwest into central and northern plains could be very dry. So unfortunately, if you have any plans here out east, it could be a washout, unfortunately. So I would suggest moving those cookouts inside and those family get-togethers inside as well. And I know there's some car shows that go on here on Memorial Day weekend, so unfortunately, if you have any car shows going on here out east and planning to attend any, prepare for some rain, as I know some car shows do it rain or shine. So just prepare for rain if you're heading to any car shows here out east. And of course, gonna be fun in the sun and good to go here in the north central and western part of the country. And push off into Monday, Memorial Day. Again, another washout here. So it's looking like much of Memorial Day weekend is gonna be a washout here out east, unfortunately. But if you live out west and in the central to northern plains, could be good to go out there. Of course, Memorial Day here in the Rockies could be very soggy, as well as up here in the Northwest could be doing some very dreary conditions out there. Some areas could see snow, some areas could see rain, basically just dreary conditions up there. And I know the Indy 500 is going to be occurring this weekend as well, so unfortunately that's going to be a washout. I will also have a forecast out for that as well if you're attending that, so stay tuned for that as well. But we move past Memorial Day, looking to continue being soggy here. See the 27th, the day that they issued the moderate risk for heavy precipitation. Looks like it's going to verify down here in the south central part of the country. And we're going to continue being soggy with some potential severe weather here in the northern plains. And we're really just going to be continuing in this pattern as we we head into the end of the month and into the beginning of June, as it's looking like the beginning of June could start off on a dry note, just like how May started off, but I don't think we're going to be starting off on a cold note here in June. So basically, next couple of weeks is looking to be a washout here in the eastern part of the country and south central part of the country, while the western part of the country into the northern plains could be very dry. Could come in on some dreary conditions in the short term here in the northwest, so some rain and snow could be occurring out there as we head into late next week. But don't worry if you hate the soggy conditions and are sick of seeing the rain. It's looking like as we head into June, we might be finally getting a break from it. We are heading into some dry conditions, so that's some good news. Now, to put this in perspective, let's go ahead and take a look at how much rain we could be coming in on, and we can see who will be coming in on the jackpot of rain. You can see the south central part of the country, y'all are under that moderate risk for heavy precipitation on the 27th, and we can see clearly here that y'all are going to be getting in on the jackpot of precipitation. So let's zoom in here to see exactly how much you could be getting in on. Well, close to 4 to possibly 6 inches of rainfall down here in parts of Louisiana, eastern Texas, and parts of Mississippi as well. And this spans all the way up here into New York, so prepare for some heavy precipitation if you live really anywhere from Texas all the way up here into the northeast. And as we take a look here out west, not much precipitation out there unless you live down here in Texas, of course, and a little bit of the central part of the country, but the northwest could be coming in on a dreary weather pattern as we head into late next week. So again, pretty much the south central to eastern part of the country is going to be a washout really for the next couple of weeks, including Memorial Day weekend. So if you have any plans this Memorial Day weekend, it's going to be a washout, unfortunately. But don't let that deter you from getting out and celebrating Memorial Day weekend with your friends and family. But out west, it's looking to be pretty good to go for Memorial Day weekend, although late next week could be very soggy, so prepare for that. And sounding like Becky Lynch here, but I'm not the only one saying it. The Climate Prediction Center is also saying it. We can see that the south central part of the country here into the southeast and the Rockies is going to be very soggy, as well as up here in the Pacific Northwest. Could be drying out here in the Great Lakes region as we head into the 25th through 29th time frame, though. The rest of the country is looking to be near normal. As we head into June, really much the same story, really more of the northern plains, northern Rockies coming in on above average precipitation, as well as out here by California, but more of the northeast, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and a little bit of the Midwest is coming in on below average precipitation, which I did say that as we head into June, we could be heading into a drying pattern. So we just got to get past the next couple of weeks, and I think we're going to be done with the rain for quite some time. And I am thinking that we are going to be coming in on a very dry summer here out east, because we are coming in on such a strong El Nino, which I will be breaking that down in my June outlook next week, as well as the role that it'll play in hurricane season. So stay tuned for those outlook videos. So now that I beat the dead horse on the precipitation, basically it's going to be pretty soggy for the next couple of weeks here out east, including it being a washout for Memorial Day weekend. Taking a look at the risk of hazardous temperatures, there is none, but I am expecting there to be a significant heat wave occurring for this weekend, because as we take a look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, we can see much of the country is heading into above average temperatures. So let's go ahead and take a look at the temperatures for the next couple of weeks. We can see that we're actually going to be a little bit cool for the next couple of days here, mainly here in the northeast, Great Lakes, and really the northern half of the country, while the southern half of the country is looking to be pretty warm for this time of year. But as we head into Memorial Day weekend, I would expect a significant warm up, as I think that we're going to be really hot this Memorial Day weekend. We're going to be hot and very soggy, so definitely prepare accordingly. If you hate the hot air, then get used to it. But if you love the hot air, then of course soak it all in, and of course there's sun, and get some vitamin D, of course. And we can see as we head into and past Memorial Day weekend, we're just going to be dealing with the hot air for quite some time, actually, unless you live out here in the Rockies, of course. But don't worry though, if you hate the hot air, I think as we head into June, we are going to be coming in a little bit of a cool down. So thinking June could start off on a cool note and a dry note, just like how May started off. So pretty much head into Memorial Day weekend, we're going to be getting hotter, but then as we head into June, we're going to start cooling down again and drying out. And to show it more clearly here, take a look at the temperature anomalies. Basically shows us whether or not we're going to be above or below average. See that we are going to be a little bit below average as we inch closer to Memorial Day weekend, but I would expect this to change drastically as we head into Monday, where we're going to be well above average here in the northern plains. A little bit below average, surprisingly, here in the mid-south, but overall I think much of the country is going to be above average, just like we saw in the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. And we can see that as we head past Memorial Day weekend, we're going to be above average for much of us, unless you live down here in the southwest. This pattern is going to persist for quite some time. Much of the country is still above average. Really, much of the country is above average, to be exact. And we're going to be really above average up here by Canada, close to almost maxed out down up there. But then that cold air is going to start coming back down again as we head into June. We're going to be going from close to 30 degrees above average to close to 20 degrees below average. So typical Mother Nature, where Mother Nature just loves to throw a hissy fit this time of year, where one week we're going to be scorching hot and the next week we're going to be cool leading up into June, and then it's going to finally stabilize. And of course, like I said earlier on the video, I will be breaking this down in my June outlook video of whether or not we're going to finally stabilize, as we are still in the I don't know what to wear kind of season. So going back to the climate prediction center, we can see much of the country is heading to above average temperatures, unless you live up here in the Pacific Northwest, where we're going to be a little bit dreary out there, and there could be some snow and rainfall mixed in there. We head into the 25th to 29th time frame. Heading to the next 8 to 14 days, much of the same stories. So we could be heading into a heat wave as we head into and past Memorial Day weekend, but then we could be heading back into a cool down as we head into June. So my thoughts on what we could expect for the next couple of weeks is basically, I think we're going to be remaining soggy here out east for the next couple of weeks. This also includes Memorial Day weekend, where I think much of the eastern part of the country is going to be a washout. Now, it's not going to be a complete washout. Some areas could come in on some dry conditions, so definitely monitor the weather. I'll be keeping you posted on X and Facebook, of course, if anything does change. Of course, on Friday, there is going to be some severe weather here in the south central part of the country, so I'll be monitoring that as well. And I will also have a case study the next day. Now, the western part of the country into the central and northern plains is going to be pretty dry, though, so Memorial Day weekend is looking pretty good out there. There could be some pop-up showers out there, so please be aware of that. And as we head past Memorial Day weekend, it's going to remain soggy for much of us here out east, as well as some dreary conditions could be in store in the Pacific Northwest, as well as some snowfall occurring in the upper elevations of the Rockies, but still remaining relatively dry out there. But as we head into June, I think we're going to finally get a relief from the rain, as I think we're going to start to dry out. And there's also going to be some potential severe weather here in the northern plains as we head into the May 29th time frame. So the end of May could be very active potentially, but then as we head into June, I think we're going to start to quiet down a little bit, although there could be some severe weather here in West Texas into eastern New Mexico. So potentially storm chasers like Vince will be out chasing some pretty cool storms out here in West Texas, as it is pretty interesting seeing the storm chasers chase storms here in West Texas, as it is pretty neat terrain out there to chase. And as far as temperatures go, of course, referring back to the Climate Prediction Center here, basically it's going to be a scorcher for the next couple of weeks, at least until we head into the end of the month, into the beginning weeks of June. So I think we're going to be pretty hot all the way into the end of the month. Then it's going to finally cool down again, so definitely prepare for some significant heat for the next couple of weeks. Although as we head towards Memorial Day weekend, it could be a little cool for much of us, but then the heat's going to kick on and we're going to be dealing with a hot and soggy Memorial Day weekend for much of us here out east, and a hot and dry one here out west. Then heading to June, we're going to be cool and dry for much of us. Now, if y'all stayed this far in the video, I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all, and as a thank you, here is a short story called The Letter Home. In a small Ohio town on Memorial Day of 1944, the Thompson family gathered at their farmhouse, clutching a letter from their son, Private John Thompson. A paratrooper in the Pacific, dated May 20th, described human jungles, sudden monsoon rains, and his dream of joining the town's Memorial Day parade next year. Keeping the flags flying, he wrote, his words brimming with hope. Tragically, John fell in a fierce battle days later. One of thousands lost that spring. On May 29th, 1944, the town held its Memorial Day service under a stormy sky, rain mingling with tears as the mayor read John's letter aloud. It became a beacon of sacrifice, uniting the community. Today, that town still displays John's letter in its Veterans Hall, and each Memorial Day, they raise flags in his honor. His words, a timeless reminder of freedom's cost. And a fun fact, over 400,000 World War II letters are preserved in archives like the National World War II Museum, keeping heroes' stories alive for generations. So there's an interesting Memorial Day story. And let us not forget what this 3-day weekend is about. It's not about those cookouts. It's not about those car shows or the Indy 500, none of that. It's all about those heroes that gave it all to protect the freedoms we take for granted each and every day. And here is a JFK quote in celebration of this special weekend. The cost of freedom is always high, but Americans have always paid it. And one path we shall never choose, and that is the path of surrender or submission. John F. Kennedy. And here is all of those who gave it all. The Revolutionary War, over 25,000. Revolutionary patriots gave their lives. And of course, the most costliest war was the Civil War, which was over 620,000. World War I, 116,500 people. And World War II, 405,400. Korean War, 36,500. Vietnam War, 58,000. And of course, post 9/11, over 7,000 plus, which we're still fighting these freaking wars for no reason at all, which is ridiculous, but of course, I digress. And of course, we remember, we honor, and we are forever grateful for those who gave it all. Check the freedoms we take for granted each and every day. So let's all take a moment of silence for those who have fallen. So I hope each and every one of y'all enjoyed this forecast video and got a lot out of it. If you did, please make sure you hit that like and share button so more folks are informed about the weather. Also, leave me some feedback in the comment section down below, as any feedback helps provide you, the viewer, better and more informative content in the future. And also, if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button down below, as I hear wins weather we try to make weather forecasting fun and informative. I also have a Rumble channel too. If you want to go check that out as well, it's WilliamsWX98. I'd greatly appreciate it if you go check that out too. So basically, it's going to be a washout this Memorial Day weekend, so prepare accordingly. It's also going to be a scorcher too, so basically it's going to be hot and soggy here on Memorial Day weekend for much of us here out east. But if you live out west, it's gonna be hot and dry out there, although some areas could be a little cool and some areas could be a little soggy as well. Head past Memorial Day weekend, could remain soggy here out east. Don't worry though, if you hate the hot, hate the rain, looks like we could be heading into a dry and cool pattern here at the end of the month and the beginning of June. Of course, that'll come with caveats. Could be heading into another active weather pattern as we head into the end of May, and I'll be keeping you posted, of course, X, Facebook, and even on here on YouTube community posts. And don't forget, I will have a June outlook and the hurricane outlook video up next week. Most likely the June outlook will be up on Tuesday, and the hurricane outlook will be up on May 30th. So stay tuned for those, as we are heading into an El Nino pattern for the rest of the year. So could mean we could be dealing with a quieter than normal hurricane season and a drier than normal summer. So stay tuned for that. Of course, if you haven't done so already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate all of y'all for watching. Enjoy this 3-day weekend, and never forget why we celebrate this 3-day weekends, because of those who gave it all to protect the freedoms we take for granted each and every day. So again, appreciate y'all for watching, and until next time, never stop forecasting.
The cost of freedom is always high, but Americans have always paid it. And one path we shall never choose, and that is the path of surrender or submission.